You're watching FNN, the FUKK News Network.
This program contains subject matter and language that may be disturbing to some viewers.
Well, every time we leave him alone, he locks himself out of the house.
I don't lock myself out.
Yes, you do.
Oh, never mind, dear. Eat your heart out.
Viewer discretion is advised.
SHMACKEMAGOB! Yes!
SHMACKEMAGOB! I'm back, and it's time for the only news that matters, and I want to thank Eddie London for that ghostly SHMACKEMAGOB intro. I mean, man, that really does look like Tobias. I think it is Tobias. I don't think that's Eddie London. Awesome makeup, awesome intro. Thank you so much, my friend. If you want to send a SHMACKEMAGOB intro, send it to this email right here, and I will put it up in order it was received. Alright, so let's get into the only news that matters. Black Sabbath to release Technical Ecstasy Deluxe Edition featuring previously unreleased outtakes, alternative mixes, and live tracks. And you know me, I already pre-ordered it. Judging by the other box sets, this one seems to have more stuff. So I'm very excited. This is an album. It is my least favorite of the 70s stuff. But believe me, I love this album. Black Sabbath's worst album of the 70s is better than many bands' best albums. I love this album. Minus 2 songs. I'm not a fan of Rock and Roll Doctor or She's Gone, but the rest, I absolutely love this album. And I can't wait till, I believe, October 1st is when it gets released. Keep releasing these box sets. I love it. Alright, next story. Rudy Sarzo announces his return to Quiet Riot. He says, I'm going home now. Yeah, I have mixed feelings about it, but, I love Rudy Sarzo, and in a way, I think financially, it's wise of him to go back to Quiet Riot. He can probably get full ownership of it, because he is part of the classic lineup, and hell, he even goes back to... he wasn't the original bass player, but he did play with Randy Rhoads in Quiet Riot and Ozzy, so more power to Rudy. I actually love Rudy. I met him on several occasions, and he's Cuban like me, and he's from the same hometown. He was born in Cuba, but he lived in Hialeah, where I live now, so hey man, whatever Rudy's does, I give it the thumbs up. I mean, before he came back, who the hell was left in the band, in the classic lineup? None. Now get Carlos Carvazo back. That would be awesome. Alright, next story. Judas Priest rejoined by guitarist Glenn Tipton for his band's first performance in over 2 years. And Glenn was sporting a beard. When I saw Judas Priest last, that was supposed to be the last time that Glenn was supposed to be with them on stage. But I'm glad he came back. And this time, unlike the time I saw him, he did... Metal Gods and the guitar solo. What I remember of when I saw them, he just came out for Breaking the Law and Living After Midnight. I recall. I could be wrong. There was no guitar solos. I don't think he did. I could be wrong. But man, he did a damn good job doing that Metal Gods guitar solo. So, man, wouldn't it be awesome if he gets cured? I know the chances are slim, when it comes to Parkinson's, but man, he didn't look bad, man, and he did a solo, so that was cool. And it was the first show of their 50th anniversary, which I don't understand why they're calling it the 50th anniversary. Maybe it's the 50th anniversary of Ian Hill being in the band. But they played a couple songs they never played before. They played One Shot at Glory and Invader, which is cool. I'm not the biggest fan of One Shot at Glory, but Invader, that's awesome they played that. And they also played Rock-a-Rolla, which they haven't played since 1976. And I saw the clips, and Rob sounded great, man. So, more power to Glenn Tipton and Judas Priest. But I still say KK should return. Alright, next story. Megadeth recruits bassist James Lomenzo for upcoming tour. This is weird, man. Dave hires a guy he fired, who got replaced by a guy who sued him after being fired, then replaced the same guy he just fired with the guy he fired. Well, I don't know. All I know is this is fucked up. I think it would be appropriate to get Pee Wee Herman to play bass in Megadeth. Alright, next story. Wolfgang Van Halen blast bands who rely heavily on backing tracks during live performances. When I hear about certain bands these days where it's like you have the lead vocals, lead guitar players pumping through the tracks, I think that's lame as hell. I think you should just stay home and listen to shit on Spotify if you're going to go play to tracks like that. And I agree, you know. I mean, I pay money to see a band live. You know, I don't want to see anybody up there lip syncing. And speaking of that, Kiss officially announced details of second Las Vegas residency. What does Paul Stanley of Kiss and a faucet have in common? They both rely on a sink. Kiss again is coming down to South Florida after they promised on the End of the Road tour they were only going to play your town once. More bullshit from Paul Stanley of Kiss. And in a new interview with Rolling Stone, Gene Simmons confirmed that David Lee Roth is no longer the support act for Kiss' scheduled U.S. leg of the farewell tour. Asked about Roth's absence from the trek, Simmons told Rolling Stones, "It bears nothing that during Dave's heyday, nobody did what he did. He was the ultimate frontman. Not Robert Plant, not Rod Stewart, nobody. He took being a frontman way beyond anything. And then, I don't know what happened to him. Something. And you get modern day Dave. I prefer to remember Elvis Presley in his prime, sneering libs back in Memphis, you know, doing all that. I don't want to think of bloated, naked Elvis on the bathroom floor. I do agree, he was the best frontman. I agree with Gene, man, but hey, man, Gene took modern day Dave out on tour. He had no problem with modern day Dave then. It's funny how Gene says he doesn't know what happened to him. Well, if you want to know what happened to him, next time you're on stage, look to your left. But I will cut Gene some slack, because who can forget this clip of what he had to say about Paul Stanley of Kiss?
Do I not want to sing? I'll sing everything. Because my voice always works. I don't lose my voice. Test 1, 2. I don't lose my voice, Paul Stanley.
That's hysterical, but not as hysterical as this Kiss tard when he heard Gene say that.
I don't lose my voice, Paul Stanley.
Alright, the two final stories have to do with Guns N' Roses. Yes, they performed a new song called Absurd at Boston Fenway's Park, and I think they did it a couple times after that. It's an old song called, I think it was called Silkworm or something like that. And they revamped it, and man, it was bad. But you know what? Any publicity is good publicity, because when I was in Nashville, I heard so many people talk about this new Guns N' Roses song. I kept hearing, you know, rumblings left and right, except for one person who likes it, who's an awesome dude. Everybody else said it sucked. I thought it sucked, but you know, I think that's part of the reason they released it, so people can just talk about how horrible it is. Get your name out there. That's why Gene Simmons says rock and roll is dead. You know, just to get your name out there and people talk about you. It's a good thing, but everybody eats it up, and I'm eating it up too by saying Absurd sucked. What a terrible damn song. And I'm a fan of Chinese Democracy, and expect an episode of Chinese Democracy coming up soon. Alright, and the final story having to do with Guns N' Roses. They just reached 1 billion streams on Spotify for the song Sweet Child of Mine. And you know what that means? They'll be getting a check for like $25 soon. Alright, that's it for the news. Thank you everybody for watching, and hey, a special thank you to everybody out there that came out to the Nashville Rockin' Pod and came up and said hi to me at my table. I bet you guys didn't expect me to give you 10 CDs. That's right, I took a bunch of CDs, and anybody that came up to me and said SHMACKEMAGOB, that was the secret word. You got to pick 10 CDs of your choice, and believe me, I had some great CDs there. And it was a pleasure meeting all of you. You all ruled. Thank you for coming out. And everybody that couldn't make it out, I still love you all. That's why I gave you Track by Track Tuesdays. And I will be putting more track by track, several a day in the future, to get rid of all my track by tracks that I did at my condominium on the beach and starting anew in my new house. So little by little, you're going to see days worth nothing but track by tracks. So thank you everybody for watching. If you'd like to donate, I got a PayPal in the description below. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Alright everybody, stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and SHMACKEMAGOB.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain.